Hello students, this is Miss Dalton and today's lesson is on dividing polynomials by monomials. Now this lesson is going to be a bridge from the last unit into this next unit. This next unit is on factoring, and in order to use factoring we've got to still use our laws of exponents, and factoring is just the inverse of multiplying polynomials. So really we're going to be trying to find what can be divided out of a polynomial. So we're going to first start looking at dividing polynomials by monomials. This is something that we kind of touched on in the last unit, so we're just going to build on it. And you can look at this picture right here and see exactly what we're going to be doing. We're going to have a polynomial that's going to be divided by a monomial. And now we have to break it up and we have to divide every term by that polynomial. So if you look at the beginning of your notes, we have something that we want to fill in just to kind of give you steps on what you need to do to solve these problems. It says when a polynomial is divided by a monomial, each term in the polynomial is, and you're going to have to add in this space here. It got left off when we ran the copies on the notes packet. So each term in the polynomial is divided by that monomial. Okay, so let's look at a couple of examples and you'll see how this works. Okay, in example number 1, it says 9y plus 12n plus 6 divided by 3. So what we're going to do here is we want to divide each term by the monomial. So we're going to take 9y and we're going to divide it by 3. Now I want you to get in the habit of writing this out. So you're going to have 9y over 3. Then we're also going to have the plus 12n get divided by 3. And then last but not least, the last term is plus 6, so we're going to get that divided by 3 as well. So I want you to write this out so that you can see that each term is getting divided by that 3. Alright, so if you take 9y and you divide it by 3, this looks very similar to what we were doing in this last unit. 3 goes into 9 3 times, so we're going to have 3y. Okay, and then the next term, 12n divided by 3, well 3 goes into 12 4 times, so we have a plus 4n. And then in the last term right here, 6 divided by 3, well that's just 2. So notice when I started with a trinomial in the numerator. It's a trinomial because it has 3 terms. And when I ended, I had a trinomial. So that's always going to happen. Whatever polynomial you start with in the numerator, that's what your answer is going to end up being. So just make sure you're taking each term and dividing it by that 3. So this would be your final answer. Okay, so on this next example, I really want you to try this on your own. So pause the video, try it, and then when you're ready to check your work, you can go ahead and start the video back up. Okay, let's see how you did. First of all, you should have separated out the terms like this. Now, one thing that I want to point out is when you have subtraction, you know, I personally get a little messed up when I have too many negatives. So when we have a subtraction, let's change that to adding the opposite. Now, when you do adding the opposite, you only have to change that numerator, okay? So in this green term here, we're going to take that and we're going to say we're going to add the opposite. So add a negative 36x. This is just going to help you be able to simplify it a little bit better, okay? So negative 9 goes into 27 negative 3 times. The other thing that's going to cancel is the x. Now remember, when you're dividing, you're subtracting those exponents. So the x has an exponent of 1, so when we subtract those, we're going to get x squared. The other way that you can think of it is, think about where do you have more x's. I have more x's in the numerator, and so when I divide out that x, it's going to leave x squared in the numerator. So this first term, this is going to cancel with one of these and make that x squared, so it's negative 3x squared. Okay, now let's look at the next one. Negative 9 goes into negative 18 a positive 2 times. Remember, negative divided by negative makes it positive. The other thing is that we've got this x squared divided by x. So I'm going to take this x away from this one and it'll just make just regular x, right? So we're going to have plus a 2x. And then in this last term, again, we have a negative divided by a negative, which makes that positive. So 36 divided by 9 is 4. And then we have x divided by x, well, those just cancel. So then on the end here, we have a plus 4. And that's your final answer. So hopefully you got that right on your own. I just wanted to point out that you can always change a subtraction to an adding a negative. Okay, fill out your WISC. Make sure you come to class tomorrow with your notes filled out. We might have a pop check.